Here is a video on how to do rendering using Solidworks. Solidworks used to have many different renders, but now only has one, and it's a good thing. It's called Photoview 360. It's this little window here. And Photoview 360 is actually Modo. It's a light version of Modo, mostly for rendering. So what is Modo? This is Modo. It's a 3D software to create 3D asset, 3D content, and it's used a lot with in design, mostly in the shoe industry, but it's also, as you can tell, it's also used a lot with SolidWorks and Rhino. So it's a standalone where it's a bit like 3ds Max or Cinema 4D or Blender, but like if I had to do complex visualization, I would use Modo, and it can import SolidWorks or Rhino file. But if it's just some stills, you could just use it within SolidWorks like this, and you'll get very good render. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. I'm showing it to you now because you'll see in a few seconds that it looks the same in SolidWorks. So this is some images created in Modo. You could create the exact same thing in SolidWorks. Where Modo comes very useful, it's when you have organic modeling, things moving. This is where New Balance, Keen shoes, Nike use Modo, and even Adidas in the UK. So people like Bose use Modo, Oakley. So it's gonna be very for beginner. I'm not gonna go super deep, but I'll show you where things are. So this is SolidWorks, as you can tell. I have an ROV, remote operated vehicle, so like a mini submarine robot that can go on his own. And I'll show you how to texture it, create the light, and the actual render. Photoview, often it's not installed, so if Photoview is not installed, you have to go Tools, and you have to go Add-ins. You only do this once, and then you make sure that Photoview is checked here and check here. Then every time you'll start SolidWorks, if you right click here, you'll get a render tool, and your render tool is here. It's the same thing as this one, exact same thing. The only difference is the size of the icon. So I'll be using that one. Another place where you find Photoview is here. This is more if you want to tweak a material, get rid of one. So you could go right click, edit, appearance, material, exact same thing, and you see we can remove it. And another place where we see Photoview is here. Actually, most of the thing will do it here. And there's three big sections. There's the materials. It's the same as Modo, so we could even use some newer Modo one. They would work. And here we could drag and drop. Scenes is our lighting. It's not just the background, it's our environment lighting. We call that also IBL or HDR, high dynamic range or image-based lighting. So most of the time we use this one, sometimes this one. Like for industrial designer, I found like all of those years, my student, including myself or colleague, it's often those two. But there's more. We could do a kitchen one, and here we have decals that are just stickers, JPEG, PNG. You could also create your own. Okay, so let's start. Like on my computer, it's very slow to open this window. So it used to be fast, but I don't know why. Maybe it's a bug, maybe a graphic card stuff. So I'll leave it on. But to start this, it's preview. So you click here, you wait for Photoview 360 for Modo to start, and I usually make it very small. So if I do anything here, you see it render fast. And when I don't use it, I pause it. Sometimes if I want to see a really high detail, I would go full resolution preview. And if you want to send an image to a client, you could save it, save the preview as a JPEG or a PNG. If you save it as a PNG, your shadow will be on a layer. The speed of this, as you know, it's your CPU, your Intel. But this is only a preview. Keep this in mind that if we need the ink or things to glow, you'll have to go final render here. So when I usually start Photoview, I would go first in option and set my option right. So let's click here. This is the size of your final image, so 4000 is pretty big. I would go a little bit lower, maybe 15 by something, by 12. Unless you're gonna go into DPI and print it. The default JPEG for now is fine. Now the big mistake that Dassault left is this. The preview and the final are the same, so it doesn't make much sense. So your preview should be good, so it's fast, and your final should be best. Sometime with complex glass or metal, you could use maximum, but that will take a long time. So I usually set up to best. 1.6 of gamma is perfect, do not touch that one. Bloom, it's if you have material that shine like LED light. And contour rendering, it's if while you render, you trace. And here I'm using it, but I don't always use it. So I'll go OK. And now if we go final render, it'll do a much better quality than what you see on the back. And as you can tell, it's Modo. They actually even shared I think I had a render photo of this. So as you can tell, here, sorry for the noise, here is a pretty high-res image. This is 100%, 50%. We can save the image here as a PNG or JPEG or TIFF. This is the final. We can make bloom, we can make things shine. Spacebar is the way you can unhide things. Voila. So what I'll do, I'll start from scratch. So I'll close this and we'll open a new, I'll close here and we'll open the ROV without any texture. This one, the one that I started with. So we start like this with basically an assembly or just a few parts. The first thing I would do, like I was showing, option, the frame size, that's not a huge deal, but this is a big deal. Good and best. If you're not using contour, turn it off. I sometimes use it, but not that often. And the first thing I would do, we can have Modo light and camera, but if you're gonna go this way, you might as well use Modo. It's not that simple to use. So, and Modo can work also, you know, with the animation in Solidworks, but if I have to do this, I would just go and use Modo. So to do stills, to fake a camera, the first thing I do, I click here and I enable perspective. So now I can see perspective line. You see it's not more orthographic, it has a perspective. If you want to change the lens, way of speaking, you can go view, modify, where is it, perspective. And here, if you go 1, it'll be a fisheye, and if you go 5, 6, it'll be a telephoto. I usually leave it at 3. I think it's pretty good. The second thing that I would do is when you move, the floor is upside down. You see it tilt. So yes, what I'm explaining with this function is that by default Solidworks it's off. If I select the top plane, you can see that it tilts. The plane is not flat. And it's a good thing for modeling, but not rendering. So whenever I render, I check this on. And if I'm not rendering, it's off. And now it's flat, as you can tell. So second thing, I'll bring an environment lighting. And I'll go like this by double clicking, so you can see the key light, the rim light, and the backlight. And here I can go edit scenes to tweak this if you need to. In the render, you can actually see very well what's going on. Once again, this could be used as a backdrop, but it's mostly on environment lighting and high dynamic range or IBL, image-based lighting. If you tweak it by going edit scenes, you could change the floor height here if your modeling was wrong. You could add floor reflection, but you could also ask to have a gradient instead. So the lighting is still the same and the reflection, but now we have just a background. So if I wanted those highlights to be on the back or on the side, you would go advance and rotation, and you would go maybe every 30, and you see now the lighting change. So this is totally up to you. By default, I would leave it at 0, and I would leave this one at environment, but it could be changed. So this was step 1. Get the mimicking the camera by doing this, and then double clicking on this one, on the scene, basic scene, and this one. And then we're starting to get a lighting and some shadow, things like this. Now, what's next is the texturing. So the way we can do this, we can do on the appearances, that means material, and we have a pretty large Modo library. So if, let's say, I was going to plastics, I could choose, let's say, a high gloss, which is not very pretty usually, because it reflects a lot, and drag and drop it to an object. And when you let go, be careful. This pop-up, the most common is the part, where you would get the whole part, but here my part is all of the solid. So here I would go body, but most of the time the body would be a part. But you could also go into your feature if you had an extrude or cut, or a face if you just wanted that face to be blue. So here I'll go body, but usually would use part. So you click on it, and now, as you can tell, the blue is here. If we need to tweak the blue, that will happen. If, let's say, I don't want something that shiny, or I don't like the blue, you go here, so you click here. This is the decal, this is the lighting, and the texture is here. And you right click, I could remove it, but you could also go edit. And here you see this is where I will change the blue. So I could click here and change the blue to something else, and you could see the update. But you could also go advance. And here we could go on the surface finishing, illumination, and the reflection is here. So the lower, the less reflective. I think here you have to press OK to see it. So if I go like really low, 0.01, I think if you press OK, then it would reflect the change. And it's working, because 0.1 of reflection is already quite a bit. So I could go back here, illumination, and we could make it transparent if we wanted, so something very transparent. Oh, and I just realized why it's still very white. It's because the specular is also, the reflection is very high, so 0.1 here. That's the real reflection here. You see it's gone, so you don't have to close the window. And if we wanted, yeah, we could make it transparent. Say OK, and now it's see-through. Okay? To get rid of it, the best, you could drag and drop a new material. Now, if I wanted something with low gloss, you might as well get it from here. It's all made, and you drag and drop again into it. Make sure you select the part or the body, and now you have a low gloss. If you need it on the other side, you would go like this and drop it here. Yeah? So it's pretty simple. Sometime in a few minutes, we get pretty good render. So we have all of the high gloss, low gloss. There's the texture plastic that are quite nice. So those ones, they actually have a texture into them. So I'll drag and drop maybe here. And now if we zoom into it, we'll see the texture. You see that noisy? Well, actually the blue has it too. So same thing here, edit, and here we could so change the color here, and the mapping is usually under basic. It's kind of confusing, but and here you could say how many you want. Do you want it wide? So here you'll get big blobby thing. Usually I would go very small, so I get a lot of tiny detail, even more than here. Okay, but the logic is the same. So here I think will be better with a clear plastic. So I'll use this one and just replace it. Voila. So now we can actually see through, and we can see the blue reflecting, plus the environment. There's a lot of good material here. There's the composite. This is very tricky to do. It's carbon fiber. So just for fun, I'll show you. I'll drag it here into body. So now, because carbon fiber has two highlights. There's the highlight of the fabric and the highlight of the epoxy. So here, if we want more tiling, more repeat, you'll have to go edit, mapping, and you see we could go lower here. So now it'll be much more realistic. Meaning that from far away you won't see it's carbon fiber, but if you come really close, you'll see all of the fiber. And we can keep on going. So Modo's got very good mesh if you wanted to see through to give a texture. Has very good wax, so subsurface scattering. Wax is like a wine, milk wax, so it lets the light penetrate the surface. This is hard to render, but it's very good. Modo has also very good car paint, so paint with metallic flake. I'm trying to think where we could put this here, maybe here. And now it might be hard to see the reflection here, but now that paint has metallic flake on it. The rubber is also excellent. There's different type of glass, but usually students really like the metals. So we could go brushed aluminum to maybe here, and now this will be brushed aluminum. We could do this on the other side, and voila. Now, if at one point you would like to have a decal or a logo or something, it's basically drag and drop. So we could go here. So there's way more, by the way. There's the light, the LED. That's where you have to turn bloom under option to get it to work. But there's the fabric that you could replace by your own clothing. There's all of the organic. The wood, they are so-so. I usually do wood from scratch, but you know, you could try them. So there's end grain and face grain. And there's the water, there's the sky, liquid. Those ones use a subsurface scattering. There's stone for architecture. There's a lot of things. And for a decal, you would actually go here. So you drag and drop it. Modo will load the PNG or the JPEG. As you can tell, it's a bit messy. And here I'm just waiting for the render. You would maybe pause the render, and then we could tweak it like this. You could hold Control to be and there's a scale, if I can find it. It's usually on the edge here. So we could scale it and move it. Voila. Still a bit too big. And put it where we want it. So if you go reset, it would show up here. You could also change the image. So some of those decal, they actually have mask, like PNG or alpha channel, like this one. The R, I think usually, or the Solidworks transparent. Let's try that one. So if I was to bring this one here, so if you double click on it, you should see the handle. You should be able to rotate it, scale it, and move it around. The non-mask area shows up. If you move the mouse, it would render where the mouse is moving first. Another thing I wanted to mention, I'm going to go in pause, is like I was saying, I would recommend Modo for animation. But if you already know animation in SolidWorks, let me show you some tricks. So the motion study here, you could do a turntable by clicking on the camera. There's a wizard. You could also do an exploded view. You could do quite a few things. Next. So for a turntable, it's just everything okay. So now if you play it, you'll see the turntable. And you could render this in Photoview if you want. You don't need Photoview open. You just go here, save animation, and here you could just do an AVI, but you could also do save Modo render, and you could do an AVI or an MP4. I would recommend MP4 actually, and maybe a little bit smaller because this is pretty big. Maybe 1280 by 720. And it will take a while unless you do a little bit of it, and yeah, so you can actually make a final movie with Photoview inside SolidWorks. So the kind of render that you can get out of Photoview Modo, it's things like this. So I did this one in class. It was like a 5-minute. The only thing that I added was depth of field. So you see it's a little bit out of focus. But this is the default wood in Modo, the brushed aluminum, and I forgot what this was. This is some render that I found online. This was done in Photoview with a background. This is the bloom, the glow, so your material becomes a light. And this is from a student of mine. And this is something I also found online, just to show you some example.